It's May 13th at 11:04 p.m. We took Dancer to the vet today to have her put to sleep because she was going through she was in acute kidney failure. Um, the doctor wanted to do it last week whenever I took Dancer in on Wednesday to somehow schedule it soon, but we wanted to wait over the weekend, so we did. I'm glad we did because we got to spend more time with her. Today, here's basically how the day went after Tia got home, which was immediately after I finished that last video. She was pulling up in the driveway and we left like 10 minutes after that. So 3 o'clock, Tia gets home. I took Dancer out to use the bathroom one last time, and I brought her back in, let her lay down for a second while Tia went up and changed clothes because she had just gotten home from the doctor's office, work in the doctor's office. And I was sitting there petting her and I think it was more for me, calming me down. You can see my eyes. Me and Tia have been crying all day. I haven't felt like this, and I can't even remember the last time I felt like this. I didn't even feel like this when my grandmother and my grandfather died. Probably because I had to make this decision, Tia and I. But I had to make this decision, and I was responsible for the life and the death of essentially my child. But anyway, so Tia came down and I put Dancer in the car, and on the way there I called the doctor's office. That was, at this point in time, it was about 3:10, 3:15. Our appointment was at 3:30, and I said, we are on the way. And the lady said, just take your time, get here, be safe, blah blah blah. I think it was about 3:47 when we finally got there, and I got her out of the car, and I told Tia to, while we were driving, we were kind of both quiet. I kept, petting Dancer in the back seat. She seemed fine. She just can't move. And when we got there, I took her to pee one more time, which she did almost immediately. I had to hold her up, and Tia waited for me because I know she did not want to go in there by herself, even though I said, go and let them know we're here. But so I walked her inside, and I told her, the lady, we were here, and she said, okay, just hold on a minute and we'll get you back in the room. And we waited for all of like 45 seconds. I sat down with Dancer. I was still holding her like this, and another lady was in the lobby, and she saw us, and she knew because she saw that we had been crying, and she started bawling. Apparently, I found out after the fact that she had put to sleep one of her dogs just recently, and Tia said, yeah, she said she was still grieving. But anyway, so immediately the lady puts me in the room that I was with Fidget in, which is the one right next to the bathrooms. And we sat in there for a little while. The doctor came in and talked to us and told us what was going to happen. And then, they had to get all the paperwork together. And she said, we need you to go out and pay first, do all that first, so that when you're done, you can just leave. Without having to stop and whatever. So I went out. It ended up being $227 and some change, which is pretty much what she quoted me the other day. And we did decide to bring the ashes home, so that'll take about an extra week. Anyway, so we sat in there, and We were in there for quite a while. I mean, we got there at 3:47, and we didn't walk out until I think a little after 5. A lot of that was us spending time with her, but um, we were in there. We were just petting her. At one point, the doctor came in and said, "Can she eat?" And I said, "It depends on what we give her, but I mean, if they're like the really strong flavored treats or whatever." So she basically gave me these little square things, which are kind of like the heartworm pills, except without the medicine in them. And she was like, "Here, just see if she'll eat these." And she's going to town on them. I kind of felt bad because I swear she must have eaten half that bag. But I mean, she was eating them. She seemed alert. She was happy, and I was giving her those, and then the doctor came in. I don't know. I don't have the track of time. I have no idea what time it is at this point, but I think it's about 4:30 probably. And she came in and said that they're going to give her a shot in her muscle. She's basically going to put her into not to sleep, but like she'd kind of like she's doped up on heroin basically. So she'd be like in twilight, is what she kept saying. So she came in finally and she gave her the shot, and she said this will take between 5 and 10 minutes to take effect, and she'll just kind of fall asleep. And it's basically a painkiller. When she said that, I was like, okay, well, it's obviously like heroin, because that's what it is and that's what it does. So, or morphine. And I mean, 20 seconds. Her eyes kind of glazed over, and she just kind of put her head down, and she wasn't. I put a treat in front of her nose, and she didn't do anything. So she was sleeping at that point. So Tia and I just sat and petted her and crying a lot. And I swear I went through an entire box of Kleenex as well, and I was dripping. But about 10 minutes later, the doctor came in and told us what she was going to do, and she said, "I'm going to put a shot. We're going to go for one of the back legs." And I was like, "Well, her back legs are swollen like sausages." And she goes, "Well, they are." But I mean, she went further up on her leg, and she put the shot in, and both me and Tia had our hand on her, basically on her heart, and we actually got to feel her heart stop beating, which did mean a lot. I got to feel her heart stop beating in my hand. I mean, it's kind of weird, but I mean, I got to feel her go. I mean, we didn't just. Earlier, while we were there, the doctor said, we'll give her the shot. If you want to leave, you can leave, but, we prefer to say for you to stay at least through giving her the first shot. And I was like, no, we're not leaving. So after her heart stopped beating, the doctor checked, and she said, let me check with the stethoscope, and she goes, okay, her heart has stopped beating. And she sat there with us for about 2 minutes, and then she kind of said, I'm going to let you guys have some time. Me and Tia just sat in there and petted her for probably the next 20-25 minutes. I feel like we were in there for about an hour, just petting her and kissing her and saying we were going to miss her and hugging her, and we just kept on petting her. And it was like this, except the water works, not just stuffy. And it was weird. I mean, it was very difficult. We didn't want to leave. Like, I literally could have stayed there all day and just sat there and petted her. I mean, she looked like she was just sleeping. And we were just like, is she gonna wake back up? I mean, she just looked like she was sleeping. And then I stood up and I looked down, and I was like, 5 minutes ago, she was alive, and now she's not. I almost feel guilty because, we're supposed to protect her. that's our job, is to protect her, and we voluntarily brought her there and said, kill her. I mean, I know we did it for a good reason. I mean, she was. If we had waited any, 1 or 2 more days, she would have been suffering. Because, I mean, think of how someone who is in kidney failure feels, and they've got to go through dialysis, but they don't get dialysis. They're poisoned to death, and that is not pleasant. Plus, she's pretty much stopped eating and drinking, and she would have starved to death and thirst to death and been poisoned to death by her own body. But I hope she wasn't scared. I hope that us being there and petting her and telling her it was going to be okay calmed her down. I mean, obviously she doesn't understand us, but hopefully us doing that at least made her calm. So about 5 o'clock, we finally, the doctor came in a couple more times and was just like, just take your time. I folded up the blanket and I asked T if she was ready to go, and she said, yeah, I think I am. She wasn't, and I wasn't, but I mean, we can't stay there all night. And it was just weird. She kissed her a couple more times. She got up, and then she was just like, hold on, and she went and she kissed her and hugged her one more time. It was very difficult. I mean, once I stood up and I looked down, I was like, oh my God, that was my child that I just said. Put her to sleep. So we finally left, and when we were in the parking lot, Tia started crying again, and I started crying again, and we hugged each other, got in the car, and we pretty much drove home quietly until we were almost home up on White Horse Road, and then we finally started talking. So when we got home, everything was still out. Her bed was still out that we made for her just so we could have her next to the door, and all the plastic was still down, and it still smelled like her, and Fidget was there sleeping on her bed. I don't know if that was Fidget saying I sense something's wrong, or Fidget just wanting to lay on the bed because she was jealous that Dancer kept getting to lay on the bed. I honestly don't know if Fidget even knows what's going on at this point. Usually the animals can sense something, but it doesn't seem like she has. I think she's going to figure out that she's alone, and that's going to be difficult for her eventually, but we took Fidget out to use the bathroom, and she was the only one. So we sat there, and at this point, I was calmed down. Tia was calmed down, and I said, I'm hungry. Are you hungry? I hadn't eaten all day. She said, yeah. We were going to go to Chick-fil-A, but for some reason it was packed and we couldn't get in, so we were like, fine, we're going to go eat Mexican. We ate. We went to the store to get some ice cream because we were both craving ice cream, and then we went home, and immediately when we got home, we started crying again. I mean, it's weird because Dancer's not there. I mean, you can sense the absence of her. I mean, she had such a personality. Whether you walked in the door and you're like, oh God, what is that smell? Or she's whining in the bathroom in her cage, or she's, gotten into something, or Fidget's snapping at her because she's lurking on her food or whatnot. But anyway, so Tia goes upstairs and she talks. I can hear her on the phone. I can hear her sniffling and crying and talking to her mom, and I'm currently downstairs cleaning up. I needed to get all of that out of there, otherwise every time I looked at it I was going to start crying, and I could not do that all night long and for the next however long. I needed to get it out of there. So I cleaned up the room, I put everything back on the couch, I got Dancer's stuff, it's upstairs, and all the stuff has been washed. It's all the blankets are clean, all the towels are clean, everything that we were using for her is clean, put away, everything. Well, they're not put away, I mean, they're in the dryer, but everything's going to be put away. All of her cages are going to go in the attic, currently at the bottom of the staircase where the attic is. But Tia started crying again. When I came up here, I saw that she was sitting on the ground. She had just hung up with her mom, and she was crying again. And then I started crying again. And then she said that her mom wanted her to send her a picture of Dancer. And then she started scrolling through the pictures, and she showed me a picture of Dancer in the vet's office, perky, ears up at her, just going in that goofy way that she looked, and I just lost it. Like I turned on a faucet, and this is after Tia had just stopped and she was calmed down. Then it just turned on, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Of course I'm not okay." I mean, it was almost amusing if it wasn't so sad. So we went back downstairs and we took Fidget out to use the bathroom again, and I picked up Dancer's mask, her muzzle, and I put it on the table outside, and Tia immediately lost it again and just starts crying, and then I started crying, and it was quick this time. It wasn't long, lingering, and lasting. And we were just like, okay. We sat down, Fidget did her thing, and we both looked around the yard, and we were like, it's only Fidget out there. It's only Fidget. Dancer's not following her around, waiting for her to find her spot so she can use it too, and we finished watching our show. We had some ice cream. We finished watching our shows, and it was like 10 o'clock, and we went upstairs. Tia's asleep in the bed, and we are so emotionally drained. Like, I'm just tired. My eyes hurt. I can't see. I'm tired. Emotionally. Like, I feel like I'm just crying. I'm almost tired. I'm so tired I can't cry anymore. It'll be better tomorrow. Better tomorrow. I don't want to forget Dancer, and I'm not going to forget Dancer. We just keep saying, now she's in heaven, and she can steal as much of Fidget's food as she wants. She can lurk around the corner. She just looking at food. Just lurking as she does. She can eat as much poop as she wants, and she's not going to get sick by doing it. It was a very long day. It was a very hard day, and I hope I never have to do that again and make that decision to put one of my animals to sleep. I think it was harder that I had to make the decision because she was alive and she was alert, and then she was not. And I had to make the decision. Will it be hard if I had an animal that just fell asleep and didn't wake back up? Of course it will. And I'll be very upset. But I wouldn't have to make the decision, the life or death decision that says, it's your time. That's not what I was put here to do, to make that decision. Somebody else makes that decision. I don't like being in charge of that, and I feel awful that I had to make that decision. We love you, Dancer. But now you're not in pain. You're in a better place, and hopefully you are eating poop and stealing Fidget's food for as long as you feel that you need to do so, and being happy about it. Goodbye.